My name is Franklin Sirmans. I'm the director of the Pérez Art Museum, Miami. This museum has been here in this location for less than 2 years. I feel like my goals have to be commensurate with the time frame, and as a very young museum, to take it to another plateau, to help define, because there is a definition, there is a foundation, I think, towards the exhibitions that we have had, and the exhibitions that we will have, the work that we have sought to acquire. And I think that is about building on that foundation and consolidating a real trademark for the museum that can be recognizable, that can be acknowledged as being one of excellence and also one of taking some risk, taking advantage of the fact that we are in a city that is very, very different from a lot of American cities, but one that is probably more reflective of the future of the United States and of American cities. Taking advantage of that fact and taking advantage of the fact that we're in a city that is obviously growing rapidly, or in a moment of rapid growth. And I think all of those moments are part of a larger cycle, but we are certainly in one now. And how will that shake out is something that I think is really interesting. And I believe that that's important. I believe that a city like Miami, that is of its size, that is of its stature, that is in its location and being seen as a sort of bridge between North and South, a bridge that is located in the Caribbean, that we are in a very special location, and that a museum that is reflective of that space and of the time that the city is operating in, I think is important. And I wouldn't want to work in museums if I thought otherwise, right? I do believe that a museum is part of the civic structure of a city that considers itself to be of the world and progressive in a certain sense. And I mean, it sounds cliche, but to think of it as a humanitarian endeavor at the same time, I think is important. Well, the challenges are that your advantages are sometimes your, not disadvantages, but challenges, as you said. So because the history is so fresh, you don't have a history of giving to civic structures that is like some other places. So in the same way that, I find it exhilarating to work from the standpoint of, we don't have like a museum that's been here forever, a museum that is more reflective of, say, our colonial American history. It doesn't exist. So you don't have to try and rewrite that history, and you don't want to. So you can actually begin to write a history that is more reflective of the present and of the recent past. So I think a lot of our disadvantages are advantages, and vice versa. But it is a challenge. Absolutely, there's no doubt about it.
It's a clean slate.
Yeah, which is awesome. But at the same time, you got to work hard to create a foundation. I came from working in Los Angeles County Museum of Art. That museum is the largest encyclopedic museum west of Chicago, and yet it had only been in its current place since 1965. So in the history of encyclopedic museums in this country, it is very young. It does not have the work that the Met has. It does not have the same vestiges of Europe that you will see in New York or Chicago. So you get to work from a different standpoint. You want to begin the trajectory with pre-Columbian, you can. And I think we can do something from here, not similar, but similar in its innovation and similar in its desire to be more reflective of its location. Base audience, it depends. I mean, I look around and I say, I was here last night for a Pam Third Thursday event that we had, right? So we had Stone Love music. We had an incredibly diverse crowd, and that is a base, that is a base. We need that. That comes. By the same token, we have exhibitions that draw different bases. We have a huge program, thanks to the Knight Foundation, around third graders.
We just saw some.
Right? So, we're bringing in something on like a huge number. I believe it's 70,000 or something per year, where that's a base. And bringing in, that many, I think, kids is going to change your base in the future. So these kids who are growing up with art as being just one of their field trips are going to look at it differently than, a generation prior where it was not probably such a part of their daily existence. We have an artist up right now, Nicholas Lobo, who lives here in Miami. We have an artist up right now, Carlos Alfonso, who lived and died here in Miami. Show that's up right now. So we definitely are interested and want to reflect where we come from. And I think that's an important part of our mission. We are dedicated to showing international contemporary art, the best of it. And we believe that there are people here in Miami that have something to offer to that conversation. Adler Guerrier is another artist who's up in our permanent collection right now, who's from here. Edouard Duval-Carrier is up right now. Dara Friedman has work up right now. All of these artists happen to have a connection here, right? We're not just a beautiful building, Herzog and de Meuron. We're everything that surrounds us, and when people come here, they're touched by everything that surrounds us. So you and I are sitting here now, I'm looking at the Yarsh Center. That is part of our cosmology. We're right over walking distance. We'll have the Science Center, Science Museum right next door. So we're part of that, and I think we're equally a part of across the park, American Airlines Arena, where the Heat play and where you have all these other kinds of entertainment and other sort of cultural events take place. And all of this takes place in view of Biscayne Bay. And that is part of one's experience here. So I see Museum Park as being integral to the experience of coming to the museum. And it's part of us as much as it is part of the city. And so we're in conversations.